Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I declare this congregation open for the conferment of degrees and awards of the University of Nottingham. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is David Greenaway. I'm Vice-Chancellor of our university. It's my pleasure to be here on the occasion when we graduate our students from the School of Geography and the School of Politics and International Relations. Wonderful day for you, a wonderful day also for your family and friends who are here to support you through this occasion. Graduation, I often think, is an opportunity to reflect a little bit on the past, what you've learned, what's inspired you while you've been here at university, and a little bit on the future, what's next for you, what's next for your generation. And I'd like to begin by reading a few words from the past that do actually link the past and the future, and they're words that I have found very inspiring. And they're words from a book that our registrar discovered a few years ago in our archives, which was published in 1928. And the book is a book which was published to celebrate a very important event in 1928, and that important event was the university moving onto this campus. From 1881 through until 1928, it had been in a site in the middle of Nottingham. And it opened with the Trent building up here on University Park. And I guess many of you won't know who the Trent building is named after. It's named after Lord Trent, and I guess most of you won't know who Lord Trent was. Well, Lord Trent was Sir Jessie Boots, and Jessie Boots was the person that inherited the Boots company from John Boots, his father, and made it the great company it became. And he had a vision. He had a vision for the university. And he delivered on that vision by personally raising the funding to build the Trent building. And this is what he wrote in the foreword to this book in 1928. He wrote, "At the moment of the opening by His Majesty the King, when the stones of the coming university are still unweathered by time, it is difficult to appreciate the full significance of this educational development. Thousands of students yet unborn will pass along the corridors and learn in the lecture rooms and wrest the secrets from nature in the laboratories. Their work will link still more closely industry with science, add to the honour of the city, and help to increase the well-being of our nation." He then goes on, because in 1928 the university was still a university college. It hadn't been awarded its Royal Charter. That came a few years later, but he anticipates that. And he says, "This will tell in due season how the university college won its charter, and thus Nottingham became the seat of a great people's university, which in each succeeding age will spread the light of learning and knowledge, and will bind science and industry into the unity that is so essential for the prosperity of the nation and the welfare of our fellow citizens." Now, apart from the eloquence of those words, I think they're remarkable in their certainty of purpose and in their prescience, because you could write that as a vision statement, actually, for this university now in the 21st century, and it was written almost a century ago, because all the essentials are there. He talks about learning, essentially learning for its own sake. He talks about the importance of what we would call fundamental research these days. He also talks about the importance of translational research, linking science with industry. But actually, it's rather broader than that if you think of the schools we have here. Linking the research that takes place in the School of Geography with environmental challenges, or the research that takes place in the School of Politics and International Relations with public policy. That's knowledge transfer. And he talks about the importance of thousands of students yet unborn. He talks about the impact that successive generations will have in shaping this university. And you are some of those thousands of students yet unborn, as are the generations that preceded you, that have made this a great people's university. That was his vision, and I think that's what we, you, us, have delivered. So in your time here, you've helped shape this university. I think the university has help to shape you. When I look at the characteristics of our students, and I have a fair amount of contact with the student body, I still teach a course in the School of Economics. I see a lot of our students through the Student Union. I see students who are obviously very smart. I see students who are diverse, who have benefited and taken advantage of the fact that this is a campus-based university, and the relationship building, the bonding that's come from that, I think helps to develop you. I see students with a remarkably acute sense of social awareness and social conscience. Remarkable because it's manifested on a daily basis through their volunteering activities in local schools and local community centres, healthcare centres, and internationally. Quite a lot of our students spend a good part of their summer vacations going and working overseas. There'll be some in Jaffna, in Sri Lanka, working with broken, war-torn communities this summer. There will be some in South Africa building a school. It's wonderful. It really is inspiring. And of course, you're also entrepreneurial. You're also increasingly globally aware and wonderfully technologically enabled. And I think all of that prepares you well for what comes next. I'm sure what comes next is a little bit daunting. Some of you will stay in education, higher education. Some will get into education as teachers. Some will get into the public services. Some into business. You're in a world of increasing change. That might seem a bit daunting because the pace of change is so fast. And some of the bigger challenges that your generation will face, the aging population, and what we do about that, energy and food sustainability, they all might seem a bit daunting. But I think the skills that you came with, and the attitudes that you came with, and the values that you leave with, prepare you well to meet those challenges. And I'd urge you to continue to be good learners and good listeners. Have the humility to continue to learn. Have the patience it takes to succeed, because success rarely comes overnight. Be bold, be challenging, be prepared to take risks, and above all, be adaptable. Because in a world that changes ever more quickly, you know from your basic biology, in times of very rapid change, it's the most adaptable that are most successful. So in closing, I would say it's a wonderful day for you. I hope it's just a fabulous event, not just the graduation ceremony itself, but actually what follows, and what you share with your friends, and what you share with your families. And we are blessed, although it's a bit warm in here, we are blessed with a wonderful day out there for you to enjoy the campus after the ceremony. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, before we come to your graduation, we have one other award to make, and that is the award of an honorary degree. A relatively small number of honorary degrees are awarded by our university each year. They're reserved for people of great distinction who have achieved great things in the world of business, in public policy, in civil society, and in sporting endeavour. And today we're going to honour Brian Steele. And I'm going to invite my colleague, Professor Chris Rudd, who's one of our Pro-Vice Chancellors, to explain to you why Brian is receiving this award today. Chris.
Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, in around 1 month's time, a team of university cyclists, including a couple of members of this platform, will embark on an 1,100-mile bike ride, taking in all the capital cities of the UK and the Republic of Ireland. It's the third time we've undertaken a 1,000-mile plus life cycle ride, each year raising money for projects within the university's largest ever fundraising campaign. And this year, the ride will raise funds for stroke rehabilitation research, an area of world-leading, life-changing research at this university. But this year, the life cyclers will have a secret weapon. This year, they will be coached by Brian Steele. And I mention that merely as a way of introducing today's honorary graduate and explaining that in our humble way, we can understand just a little of Brian's achievements. UK cycling in recent years has undergone a renaissance with increasing numbers taking to the streets on their bikes. The media would have us believe that this was almost entirely down to the outstanding success of notable cyclists, Sir Chris Hoy, Sir Bradley Wiggins, or indeed our own Vice-Chancellor. Especially in the reflected glory of London 2012, the Tour de France of the same year, and Life Cycles 1 and 2. But before any of those heroes hit the headlines, one man born here in Nottingham had already won world and Olympic honours and played a crucial role in establishing Team GB. From scrawny, challenging schoolboy to world-class athlete, Brian Steele's story as a professional racing cyclist is one of inspiration, dedication, and the development of a winning mindset. Brian's emergence was part of a revolutionary change management program that catapulted the British cycling team onto the world stage, with Brian himself winning many international honours. He represented Great Britain at the 1992, 1996, 2000 and 2004 Summer Olympics, a phenomenal achievement for such a demanding sport. The radical new principles he pioneered enabled Brian to rack up an impressive collection of medals: 4 World Championship silvers, a World Championship bronze, a Commonwealth Games silver, an Olympic bronze and an Olympic silver in the team pursuit, and a further silver medal in the individual pursuit at the National Championships in 2003 reminded everyone of Brian's talent for riding solo too. Brian was a member of the GB national team for 18 years and made a major contribution to the success of the team pursuit squad, winning 35 medals in national races. He was named East Midlands Sportsperson of the Year in '92 and received a Services to Cycling Award in 2004. However, it could have all been very different. As a boy, Brian was uninterested in school and, in his own words, not particularly athletic. He discovered cycling only at the age of 14 after encouragement from his older brother. This gave him something he had never had, an outlet and a passion. He joined cycling clubs and eventually made it to the British cycling team. This was long before lottery funding and the preeminence that is now associated with Team GB. Now retired and using his experience as an Olympic and world athlete, Brian is determined to use his principles of modern elite sports coaching for the benefit of others. He's evolved a personal development program called Winning Mindset, based on the principle that the formula for success is as applicable to the boardroom as it is to the playing field. Brian's programs now inspire and motivate people, driving positive attitudes which maximize individual and team potential. One-to-one mentoring, team workshops and coaching sessions are now delivered to corporations, schools and sports organisations. And through our own Nottingham Potential programme, we share Brian's thesis that no matter your background, you each have the ability to achieve spectacularly. Many people, not only the young, need inspiration and motivation to unlock that potential. And Brian believes that many opportunities are passed because we don't systematically and continuously identify and use our talents and strengths. And only once you have identified your talents and passions can you fully realize your goals. Brian continues to contribute to sport for a number of charities and associations. His work as a relationship manager for the Respect Athlete Mentor Programme supports disaffected and disengaged young people in order to develop their pathways through life and through sport, a poignant link to his own experience. Brian has designed and delivered athlete support programmes for Sport Nottinghamshire and Sport Lincolnshire gifted and talented schemes. Brian Steele's coaching programmes utilise his skills and experience. They help young people achieve sporting success, and the programmes his academy offers are directly derived from the GB cycling team approach of the last decade, one of the greatest success stories across all Olympic sports. His programmes help sports people to achieve success by maximising their ability, commitment, belief and focus, and they give an edge over the competition. Brian is also a motivational public speaker, working for large companies and associations, and what better a person to address our graduates on this auspicious day of celebration. Brian Steele has performed and achieved at the highest level in his sport, and since retiring from competition, he has continued to give back to that sport and to broader society. He inspires and develops future Olympians, business leaders, and young people. Vice-Chancellor, to you and to the whole congregation, I present Brian Steele as eminently worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts, honoris causa.
By the authority of the University of Nottingham vested in my office, I admit you to the degree of Master of Arts, honoris causa. Congratulations, Brian. Thank you, Chris. So we'll now continue with the conferment of degrees and the award of diplomas and certificates. And by the authority of the University of Nottingham vested in my office, I admit those present today and those in absentia to their university awards. Now I'd like to invite my colleague, Professor Paul Hayward, who is Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, to present the graduates in his faculty for their awards. Paul.
Vice-Chancellor, to you and to the congregation, I present these students in my faculty for the following university awards. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, European Politics, Sophie Bailey. Zoe Ben-Gerby. Ashley Joseph Bertie. Emma Marie Pauline Bittan. Tom Colgan. Beatrice Eleanor Curry. James Timothy Free. Jack William Goldwater. Lien Hoang. Kit Lomax. Joshua Marchant. Kieran Premnath. Siobhan Randell. Adam Jacob Schwartz. Kaiser Barbara Jenny Stanner. Darius Wainwright. Timothy David Walker. Geography, Joe Thomas John Allen. Thomas Allen. Polly Armstrong Beaver. Megan Jane Atkinson. Catherine Jessica Bayliss. Lydia Rose Bell. Charlotte Elizabeth Black. Amy Louise Boast. Patrick Bruce. Laura Burke. Hannah Victoria Campion. Joseph Mark Janusz Catling. Harry Ollie Clark. Jessica Emily Clark. Jennifer Anera Cockram. George Ernest Graham Cole. Thomas John Colville. Lawrence Duncan Cox. Sophie Kate Crosby. Poppy Curd. Melanie Daggett. Annabel Dalby. Hannah Davis. Imogen Caroline Davis. Christopher Paul John Denton. Sarah Doherty. Katie Alice Fieldman. Caitlin Hannah Gander. Simon Charles Gately. Rachel Sarah Glenister. Sarah Jane Lucy Graham. Joshua Chalice Gretton. Georgina Emily Griffiths. Emma Louise Hardy. Alana Harris. Matthew Stephen Hawkes. Chloe Claire Holmes. Harley Humphreys. Sophie Hyde. Martha Rose Innett. Joseph Isaacs. Michaela Yael Jeffries. Charlie Jenkins. Alexandra Jones. Thomas Ivas Allen King. Heidi Napton. Bronwen Lally. William Leach. Sarah Rachel Lopez. Louise Mackinder. Ethan Stewart Martin. Catherine Mary McKee. Hayley Linda Merrick. Valentine Holly Miller. George Mills. Christopher Morris. Peter William Mossindew. Anna Nenashiva. Emma Pavley. Guy Pengelly. Sophie Elizabeth Perry. Christopher Bruce Plummer. Matthew Proctor. Sophie Victoria Rain. Georgina Ann Redpath. Victoria Alice Rintoul. James Salinger. Chloe Sophie Claire Salter. Joseph Sawyer. Elizabeth Grace Shepherd. Lara Simpson. Priyanka Nicole Sippy. Chris Smart. Emma Stones. Olivia Susanna Bevan Simmons. Abigail Taylor. Oscar Thompson. Sophie Elizabeth Tomlinson. And for the University Prize, Helen Francis Trim. Rosanna Elizabeth Toogood. George William Ward. Natasha Elsa Muriel Weisfeld. Sarah Victoria Weston. Rachel Elizabeth Wheeler. James Wright. Laura Kate Zaremba. Geography with Business, Sarah Elizabeth Ballard. Sachi Bid. Jonathan William Down. Robert James Dunnill. Richard Joshua Fox. George Henry Guterres. Farhana Ho. Catherine Hook. Alexander Lister. Joshua Meredith. Jessica Elizabeth Moore. Connor O'Keefe. Harry Leslie Sidney Robson. Harry Salmon. Rose Sargent. Alexander Titmash. James Vickers. Geography with Chinese Studies, Thomas Bowell. Samantha Jo Clark. William Ross Grieve. Amanda Hewitt. Georgina Louise Howell. Caitlin Rose McCool. International Relations, Kristin Lerfeld-Grostad. Politics, Katie Ellen Allison. Thomas James Barlow. Oliver Barnes. Claire Lisa Belilos. Alexander Berwin. Abigail Bishop Laggett. Rebecca Blackburn. Alistair Andrew David Boundy. Ruby Louisa Elizabeth Bridge. Natalie Brooks. Milton Brown. David Lewis Burton. Thomas William Carr. Adam Alexander Charlton. Patrick Michael Christis. Hayley Teresa Clark. Paul William Clark. Eleanor Cotham. Patrick Morgan Keneally. Holly Laura Cook. Elizabeth Cornwell. Alexandra Luisa Cotulas. Charlotte Cutmore. Eleanor Juliet Seifus. Sophie Elizabeth Deval. Anthony Dimitriou. Dev Dillon. Luke Dixon. Freya Dodd. James David Donald. Matthew Paul Forthrop. Daniel James Fine. Josh Frett. Michael Gaffney. George Gardner. Sean Gibbs. Daniel James Gilpin. Harriet Caitlin Gover. Candice Marie Grantham. Nick Greenhoff. Leo Joseph Haig. Thomas Charles Hollis. Paul Holmes. Ryan Holmes. James Robert Hutchings. Mukarram Iqbal. Annie Jarvis. Lindsay Keane. Charlotte Amy Kemp. Sean Kia. Daniel Kibble. Elissa Kill. Alexander Peter Knight. Joshua Abraham Levy. Nicholas Lister. Natasha Maksimowski. Adrian McBride. Peter McIntyre. Anna Maisie McKimmie. Robert Mead. Tim Callum Tyler Meredith. Joshua Richard Murray. Zoe Nowak. Amy Elizabeth O'Driscoll. Tyler Sean O'Sullivan. Catherine Petty. Tom Pritchard. Andrew Pym. William Randall. Holly Natalie Riley. Matthew Michael Rice. Keon Samavat. Lauren Saving. Henry Sharp. Owen Shirley. Sebastian Richard Berenger Smuts. Christopher John Spill. Lucy Stanford. Jonathan Stimler. Rebecca Stoddart. Igor Strucker. Jonas da Costa Oliveira Somarish. Robin Tangai. Dominic Tarquini. Janine Antoinette Imogen Taylor. Joseph Todd. Tiffany Kate Trenner Lyle. James Richard John Trott. Laura May Turner. Liam Weeks. Chloe Wenman. Thomas James Wheatley. Timothy Michael Rees-Williams. And for the University Prize, Nicholas Mark Wood. Andrula Yanetsaru. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Joint Honours, Politics and American Studies, Bradley Allen. Sammy Max Benson. Olivia Blunn. Emily Craig. Kieran Kaur Daliwal. Eve Marguerite Donnelly. Sophie Hardman. Jennifer Ann Harrison. Catherine Rose Knight. Hannah Perslow. Charlotte Sharpin. Rianne Sinclair Phillips. Siobhan Webber. Politics and American Studies International Study, Joseph Felix Butler. Simon Byrne. Catherine Dixon. Rebecca Louise McGrath. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Environmental Sciences, Li Xiao. Xuan Gi. Ying Gi. Qingxiang Hu. Gailin Hu. Yangmin Huang. Dafei Ning. Linjua Pu. Yang Ren Shen. Meng Di Shi. Xinroi Wang. Jing Jingyan. Meng Yu. Shiwei Jiang. Diwei Zhu. Geography, Kerry Andrews. Christopher Lewis Bate. Timothy David Benton. Louis Bottomley. Georgia Kathleen Princelar Bolton. Alexander Benjamin Carew. Alexander Cattaneo. William Sebastian Klempner. Libby Collett. Lucy Davidson. James Augustus Maxwell Davis. Emily Jane Doyle. Alexander Matthew Dyson. Rory William French. Joseph Gooch. Katie Griffiths. Charles Edward Harris. James Harris. Holly Louise Heath. Abigail Henry. Thomas Edward Howe. Timothy Peter Hoyland. Sebastian Elliot Jamhus. Daniela Kleinsmith. Afua Kokei. Jack Lambert. Richard Lonbay. Georgina Lee Martin. Amanda Louise Millward. Kate Mundy. Jack Munnery. Benjamin Milchrist. Philippa Jane Richardson. Hannah Robertson. Thomas Henry Charles Rosen. Katrina Schonhut. Matthew James Smith. Daniel Taylor. James Richard Charles Taylor. Abigail Sarah White. Jonathan George Wilson. Claire Elizabeth Young. For the degree of Master in Science with Honours, International Relations and Global Issues, Gizem Kulunch. For the degree of Master of Arts, Environmental Management, Georgina Elizabeth Ruth Hawkins. International Relations, Louise Truslove. For the degree of Master of Science, Geographical Information Science, Liam David Clark. Philip James Sale. For the degree of Master of Research, School of Geography, Ian James Newby. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, School of Geography, Kenneth Matthias Skelly. Yang Wei. School of Politics and International Relations, David Bell. Michael James Sinclair Brodie. Deirdre Druffy. Ayrton Errol. Fatma Zainab Ozgurt. Oana Elisabetta Pop. Anissa Rahiyati Santoso. Heather Mary Watkins. Vice-Chancellor, I also present to you, for the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with Honours, Mechanical Engineering, Evan Collier. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, Politics, Leanna Rosenberg.
I'd now like to invite Brian Steele to address the congregation. Brian.
To start with, guys, it's a huge honour to be here and have a great honorary degree given by my home city and not only that, my hometown of Beeston, where I was born and bred. One question people always ask me is what it's like to be stood on the Olympic start line with about 30 seconds to go. The few of you have just had the opportunity to stand there. It's very much like that, so just think about that. As I said, today is a huge honour for me, and as I said in the introduction, I came from quite a simple background. I was born and bred in Nottingham, and it's a huge honour to have my parents here today, as well as my beautiful wife and daughter, to see this achievement for me. I didn't enjoy school. In fact, I'd go as far as saying I hated school. And as a young person, I hated sport. I was a young person who would forget his PE kit on purpose. I was a young person, and I'm sure some of you in this room always get last to pick for football. I was the one who always got shoved in goal, and my footballing experience was picking a ball out the back of the net and being shouted at. And my brother started cycling, local cycling club. Sure some of you guys have been in Sid Stander's bike shop on Chilwell High Road, and Sid started my brother off cycling. Because of the young person I was, I had to go and watch my brother race. Until one day my dad bought me a bike and asked me to give it a go. I think ultimately my dad did it to stop me moaning in the back of the car, and he just really wanted me moaning me elsewhere. And I wasn't very good. In fact, I'd go as far as saying I was rubbish. But I kept at it. It was something that I enjoyed, something that I loved. And within 3 years, I was on the national team. And 4 years after that, I went to my first Olympic Games. So what I really say to people today is a huge congratulations. It's a huge honour for myself, and I'm sure it's a huge honour for you. But I'm a big believer of three things, and I just really want to finish up with those three things. I think today we've seen some very talented young people. And I also think that every young person has a talent, and that's my passion now, is to work with as many young people as possible to find their talents. And today, these guys are on that journey of, one, they've found their talent, but their journey to be successful. The second thing, and I always thank my dad for this, is life's about opportunities. And he gave me an opportunity to get on a bike, and it changed my life. So if I say the graduates today is just take this opportunity now, stop and reflect. But you're going now into the big wide world, which is going to be hard. But take every opportunity as it comes, and embrace every opportunity as well. And I think the big thing that I learned as a cyclist and being a sportsman is about belief. Belief is the key in being successful. You're going to get some hardships. Well, you're going to get a lot of hardships. You're going to get lots of highs, and more importantly, lots of lows, but learning from those lows. My coach always said to me, if you didn't fail, you've not gone hard enough. So just remember that, guys. Believe in yourselves. Believe to push yourself past your limits. I was watching the Tour de France last night and watching Chris Froome going up that mountain, and I know that he was doing something that I always did as a cyclist. When I thought I couldn't go anymore, I started counting to 20. And that was because, well, I can't do any more, but I'm going to give it 20 more revs. And when I've done those 20 more revs, as I'm still going, I'm just going to count to another 20 more revs. You'd be amazed how far I went at 20 revs at a time. Well, that's just down to belief. If you don't push yourself to the next level. So a huge congratulations, guys. Thank you very much for this honour today. And I know we've done a lot of clapping, but I'd like to give the graduates a massive round of applause. Thank you.
Ryan, thank you for those words, which I'm sure graduates will remember, and congratulations again. Before I close today's congregation, let me add my congratulations again to all of our new graduates, and to remind you again to enjoy the day and make sure that all your family and friends who are here with you enjoy the day. I'd also like to remind you that although you're leaving a very big Nottingham community that you've been part of for some years, which I think will remain an important part of your life, and that's the community of students and staff here at the university. 33,000 students, 7,000 staff. You're actually joining a much bigger Nottingham community, which is a community of alumni, which is more than 200,000 strong and is a global community. It's a ready-made network for you. There are people from your schools in that network. There are people who have done spectacularly well in that network. And there are people there that can provide you with advice and with support. There are people there who you can develop friendships with because they've got something very important in common with you, and that is that they're also products of this university. So do get involved. It's very easy to stay involved and engaged. Do give something back to your schools in terms of offering to mentor current students. And do give something back to your communities. The commitment to building social capital that you've learned and developed here, take out with you. Finally, I'd like to ask all the new graduates to stand. So this is your day. We have all acknowledged that, and you've had lots of applause, and so you should, because these are fantastic achievements that take years to accomplish. But of course, you've not achieved them alone. You've had a lot of support from the university community, they're represented by the people, my colleagues behind me on this platform, the academic staff, your tutors, your supervisors, your lecturers, and the professional staff, the people that do everything from look after our wonderful campuses to look after your halls, your sports facilities, make these graduation ceremonies work as they do. They've given you a lot of support, but actually, even more support's been provided by those at the front of the hall, hasn't it? Because your friends and your family in particular are the people that helped to get you into this university in the first place. And you wouldn't have been here receiving these awards today but for them. They've supported you emotionally, financially. So this is a really great opportunity for you to show how much that means to you publicly. Please. Thank you very much. So I now declare the congregation closed, and I'd like to ask the entire congregation to stand while we play the national anthem.